off with the formula for writing an essay. The formula simply is P1, which would be paraphrase, thesis or background statement and stance. Then of course your stance could be opinion, it could be view, it could be suggestion, it could be merit or demerit. It could as well be advantage or disadvantage. Then we have P2, which simply is your TS, your BP, and an instance. We also have the P3, which is the TS, the BP, and an illustration. And then we have P4, which simply is your conclusion and your stance. Okay. Let's quickly talk about your formula. Now, for this formula, you would understand that your essay is meant to have 4 paragraphs. Please do not write more than 4 paragraphs. Do not write less than 4 paragraphs. So having 4 paragraphs is standard in IELTS. Right? So usually the first paragraph, some experts will call it introduction. Right? Now the introduction is meant to have 3 components, 3 features. You should factor them in. And the 3 features are paraphrase. You're going to paraphrase the question. So you are recopying the question that's on your question paper onto your answer sheet. And that would be the beginning of your first paragraph. After paraphrasing the question, of course, it has to end with a full stop. Then you need to plan your essay by reading and understanding the question and deciding on what path you are going to take. For instance, if a question says, do you agree or disagree? If a question is asking if you agree or disagree, you're meant to decide whether to agree or disagree. So at that point, you decide what path you want to take, whether you want to agree or disagree. Now, when you have decided to agree, for instance, you are expected to come up with 2 strong points to prove your agreement. Now, these 2 strong points you have to come up with must be parallel. You know, when something is parallel, they don't touch, they don't relate, they don't interconnect, but they are both referring to agreement. Do you understand this? You know, in exam, when you are tensed, you are in an exam condition, you would unconsciously remix, rephrase, or rewrite the same points in diverse ways. You would know. But the IELTS examiners will actually detect that. So when they detect that, they are marking you as expressing one point in 2 different paragraphs. So that's why I said you have to generate 2 parallel points, both expressing agreement. So when you have drafted that, remember yesterday I gave you the different steps you have to take to achieve a wonderful essay. So one of the steps clearly established that you are to plan your essay by drafting out your points on your question paper as rough work. So that would help you to get points that are not related, that are not paraphrased. So when you get each of the points, you are expected to attach an example to each. I hope you remember this. So the example you give to the first point will also be different from the example you are giving to the second point because the ideas are different. Now, when you have drafted out your points and attach an example to each, if the question says give your opinion, you are then meant to drop your opinion still on that question paper as rough work. So once you're done planning that essay, you are very confident about what you're about to begin. So that will give you the confidence to now go and write your thesis or background statement. So writing your thesis or background statement simply means, in politics, we call it manifesto. You know what manifesto is all about? You giving or telling the people what you will do. That is what, in IELTS, that's what background statement means. You are telling the examiner what your essay would look like. So after copying, in a paraphrased way, the question, you then plan your essay and decide on what you're going to do. Then you go back to your answer sheet and establish your background statement, your manifesto. So you do that by simply saying, in this essay, I will be writing to absolutely agree. That's if your points are for agreement. So you are saying, in this essay, I will be writing to absolutely agree with the issue raised above. Do you understand? If your points are to disagree, you are saying what? In this essay, I will be writing to outrightly disagree. So when you establish your thesis or background statement, it should not end with a full stop. It should end with what? Semicolon. The one we call semicolon. Right? So it looks this way. You have something like this, right? Semicolon. That should end your thesis background statement. And after the semicolon, you then bring in that opinion you must have drafted down somewhere on your question paper, right? You bring it in. At that point, you have completed your paragraph 1. Please, I want to emphasize on this. Paragraph 1 is the engine house of your essay. Paragraph 1 is the blueprint of your essay. So if you get your paragraph 1 right, the other part of your essay will be walkover for you. When you do your paragraph 1 correctly, you have solved your essay task by 50%. Unconsciously, you won't know. Getting your paragraph 1 done correctly helps you to solve the entire essay by 50%. This is how it works. First, you copied the question onto your answer sheet, right? But not verbatim, right? You paraphrased the question. Then after all of that, to enable you establish your background statement, you have to do what? Plan your essay. Is that correct? Now, planning your essay means you are deciding on what to do. You are drafting out the points to support whatever path you want to take. You are attaching an example to each, and you are establishing opinion or view or merit or demerit, whatever the question requires. Now, once you have done all of that, these other parts are taken care of by that planning. Because for your paragraph 2, this TS means what? Topic sentence. What is topic sentence? That point, the first point you drafted down on your question paper is your topic sentence. So you're bringing it down. The topic sentence for paragraph 3 is the second point you also must have drafted down on your question paper as rough work. Is that correct? In instance and illustration both mean what? Example. And each point you drafted out, you attached an example to it. Is that correct? Then, you also drafted an opinion for your paragraph 1. It is also short at this point because the same opinion you wrote in paragraph 1 is what you're going to bring down at your paragraph 4. But it won't be verbatim, you're going to rephrase. Now, the BP, which is the body paragraph, is you expatiating, you giving more detail about that point that you thought out. Because for you to have thought out a point, you know what you want to say about it. That's the way the brain is wired. You won't just say, let me take jollof rice. You know why you're going for jollof rice. Perhaps it is your favorite food. Perhaps it is easier for you to cook. Perhaps there's something about it that made you to go for it. So whatever topic sentences you must have drafted out on your question paper as rough work, the body paragraphs are already built in your mind. So these remaining parts of your essay are already taken care of by 50% when you do get your paragraph 1 right. Then apart from that, remember, it is often said that first impression matters a lot in everything, right? So if your paragraph 1 looks attractive, well coordinated, well drafted and constructed, the examiners will know that this person is actually on course. The person knows what he or she is about. The examiner would even foresee or envisage what the remaining part of the essay will look like from your paragraph 1. So it is important that you take some time and get your paragraph 1 right. Please do understand this. Now, let's begin. Let's look at the paragraph 2, which I've talked about. You take your one of the points, write it on your answer sheet, expatiate on it, and give an example. The example is already established on your question paper as rough work while planning your essay. Same thing applies to paragraph 3. You pick the second question, elaborate on it, and then give an example that addresses the points you have just discussed in detail. Paragraph 4, you are concluding your essay. I gave us 2 options of conclusion. You either conclude by saying summarily or conclusively, or you can conclude by saying in light of the above, right? So once you establish your conclusion, you simply bring down the opinion you must have written in your paragraph 1 down to your paragraph 4 in a paraphrased manner. And that's the end of your essay. Okay, so we shall begin today by breaking down the formula, so it will be easier for us to understand and practicalize on our own. From the formula, the first thing we have is P1, and I said P1 should have 3 major components: paraphrase, thesis, background statement, and stance. So we shall begin with the paraphrase. What does paraphrase mean, in your own opinion? Rocky, what does paraphrase mean?
Using the same word putting the same word in different ways.
All right. Expressing the same idea using different words. Is that what you mean to say?
Yeah. Yes.
All right. Does any other person have a contrary definition of paraphrase? What does it mean, paraphrase? In your own words. In your...
Breaking down to smaller molecules.
Would like to hear you, please.
Breaking down to smaller molecules.
Breaking down to smaller molecules. That's science. That's science. Breaking down to smaller molecules. What is breaking down? Is it natural forces? Any other explanation about paraphrase?
To kind of quote something, not exactly the way you saw it, like not verbatim.
To quote an information without using their own words, right? But retaining the main idea. Is that correct? Okay, if we are not taking, paraphrase is a writing technique. Paraphrase is a writing technique of restating an information. Paraphrase is a writing technique of restating an information using synonyms of phrases. Paraphrase is a writing technique of restating an information using synonyms of phrases that still retain the same idea. Paraphrase is a writing technique of restating an information using synonyms of phrases that still retain the original idea. Taken? You can also say, simply put, paraphrasing means rephrasing an information accurately. Paraphrasing simply means rephrasing an information accurately. Without ambiguity and without importing strange ideas. Simply put, paraphrasing means rephrasing an information accurately without ambiguity and without importing strange ideas. Mrs. Cordy, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right. Okay, so if you have actually understood what paraphrasing means, we are going to have some quick tests to see our understanding of paraphrase. Now, the test we're about to do, please, you need to put in your best, because this is the foundation of IELTS. Paraphrase. It is the foundation. If you understand paraphrasing, you're not going to have a lot of challenges in your listening test. Because the reason we missed a lot of the answers during your listening test was not because you weren't hearing the English you were speaking. It was because you didn't know where the audio was written at some point in time. And the reason for that is paraphrase. In your reading test, you would read a passage and read a question. When you read the question, you will realize that the words in the question are nowhere in the passage. So to some test takers, you feel the answer is not there. The answer is there, staring at you. The only thing is that the words used in the passage was or were paraphrased. Okay? When you are writing, during your writing test, you must also show off paraphrasing because you need to avoid repetitions. When you are speaking as well, you must also show off paraphrase because you must avoid using same words to express yourself. So please, this guy is very important. So let's begin. Okay, so right here on the board, we have our first task, our first test. And the test is just for you to paraphrase. Just to paraphrase this. The test or the question here is, some persons believe buying and selling is as old as the practice of using what you have to acquire what you want. Then to what extent do you agree? Give your own opinion. In 2 minutes, please paraphrase this. Are you still copying? Okay, please copy. Alright, I believe we're all done copying. So we have just 2 minutes to paraphrase this on our notes. We are going to read out whatever you write. So our time starts now. Alright, our time is up. Our time is up. So we shall begin. Mrs. Cordy, I'll start with you. Pardon? Uh-oh. This is a timed exercise. So once the time elapses, we're not supposed to be writing any other thing. So you have to increase your pace. All right, I will continue with those in the classroom here. Then I'll come back to you. Okay, Mr. Rakib, are you ready?
Yes.
All right, nice. So let's hear what you have written down or what you have paraphrased.
okay, certain age individuals.
Yes, we are listening.
Okay, certain age individuals think trading is as aged as the practice of trade by barters.
Please, let's take that again.
Certain old individuals think that trading is as aged as the practice of trade by barters.
Okay, you said it's as old as, right?
Yeah. Certain old individuals.
Yeah, I can.
Certain old individuals, certain aged individuals
Yeah, I can hear you.
think trading is as aged as the practice of trade by barters.
Please spell your trade by barter.
TRDE, yeah, trade by barters.
Spell your barters.
BARTER.
This is barter. You said barters.
Okay, but yeah, like the pronunciation.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, madam, let's start with you.
I wrote some elders.
No, I would like to write whatever while you are saying. Okay, go ahead, please.
Some elders believes buying and selling for the fruit is as old as using as the practice of using what they want to acquire what they already have.
You are talking to us. Those online would like to hear what you have, please.
Well, I didn't write anything.
Perfect if you shoot from your head.
Okay. So a good number of aged people believe in trade by barter.
Okay, please, you take it gently. I'm taking notes. I'm making notes of some of the things you're saying. A good number of, right?
Yes.
Of what?
Aged people
Okay. believe
in the method of trade by barter as a means of trading. Or a means of buying and selling, I guess.
As what?
A means of buying and selling.
Thank you so much. Please, can you pass to him? All right. Please go ahead.
Some elderly persons believe trading is an ancient practice of using what you have to obtain what you want. This I conclusively concur with.
Okay, let's take that again, please. Gradually. Some elderly individuals.
Some elderly persons.
Okay, persons. Okay.
Believe trading is an ancient practice of using what you have to obtain what you want. This I conclusively concur with.
You retain buying and selling, right?
No, I use trading.
Okay, trading is as what?
Is an ancient practice.
Is an ancient practice
of using what you have to obtain what you want. This I conclusively concur.
It's an ancient practice of using what you have right?
Yes, to
To
obtain
obtain what you
want.
Nice.
Some aged persons who find merchandising as archaic as the practice of trade by barter.
Who find
Merchandising,
this spell?
MERCHANDIZING,
Okay.
as archaic as the practice of trade by barter.
As archaic.
Archaic.
Please spell it.
ARCH.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. As archaic as what?
As the practice of trade by barter.
Please pass to her. Right, you are listening?
Some of the elderly people believe that business is an ancient method of using what is in your possession to get what you desire.
The business is what, please?
That business is an ancient method of using what is in your possession to get what you desire.
So please go ahead. We're listening. Your paraphrase.
A few aged people
A few aged persons, okay? Did you say a few aged people or persons? A few aged people. Few. Okay, go ahead.
are of the opinion
Mm-hmm.
that buying and selling is an old belief. Is an old belief of exchanging
Please spell your belief. Mm-hmm.
BELIEF
Right, nice. Go ahead.
of exchanging what you have to get what you need. Ultimately, I do agree.
All right. Thank you so much. Mrs. Cody, are you ready now?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. We're listening.
Certain elders have the notion that buying and selling is as ancient as using what you have to get what you desire.
Okay. Thank you so much. I've heard or listened to everyone, and I've picked what I feel that are either paraphrasable or incorrect. Okay? So let's take these one after another before I come back here to correct this paraphrase. Here, this person. Okay, that's Mr. Rakib. Can you hear me? Rakib, can you hear me? Are you there? Oops. Okay, let's go to this person. One of this is for you, right? Believes. Believes is in singular. This believes is in singular form. Do we know that? And the subject here is in plural, so it doesn't align. Do you understand? So the plural form of believes is believe. It doesn't go with this. For instance, if you want to use second person singular. Second person singular pronoun for male is what? You can remember? Second person singular pronoun for male is what?
Is.
Hmm?
Is.
Based on what we have done, it is quite easy to paraphrase in 40 seconds. Don't try to pause to think of a word to use to substitute. You don't have that time. There is a very strong suggestion in IELTS that says if you do not paraphrase, you may never score above 5.0 in writing, in essay, if you do not paraphrase. It also says it is better not to paraphrase than to paraphrase wrongly. What does that mean? It is better not to paraphrase at all than to paraphrase wrongly. Yet, if you do not paraphrase, you may never score above 5.0. So simply put, what it means is there is no rule or policy in IELTS that compels you, the test taker, to paraphrase every single word in a question. There is no such rule. So, what's your task? Change the ones you know. Yes. Don't say, my teacher always use that word. And it sounds very English. Let me use it. It might not mean that same thing in that context. So, use the words you have confirmed from or on a dictionary. Use those words. Don't start looking for Honorable Patrick's words. You'll be shooting yourself. So, once you have identified the keywords that you are very confident about, you are sure that they mean the same thing, you are sure they can be substituted in this context and still retain the original meaning, then you go straight to your answer sheet and transfer. Now let's transfer to our answer sheet. So we're going to have, so on your answer sheet, you transfer the paraphrased version. For your answer sheet, you transfer the paraphrased version of the question. Then check if it means the same thing. Some certain old-aged persons, individuals, opine that buying and selling, trading, is as ancient as the practice of using what you have to acquire what you want, trade by barter. You have successfully paraphrased, and you have also replicated the same information, devoid of ambiguity, devoid of importing what is not there. So, the whole of this is a definition. What are we defining? Trade by barter. So sometimes when you are practicing, check if the question defines any ideology. If it does, then use that single word to substitute the whole of the definition. In English, it's called brevity. B-R-E-V-I-T-Y. The use of a single word to capture a whole. Right? So, once you've done this, you will then apply your full stop. And the next thing is to now come back to the original question, to read like twice or thrice more, to now understand. Because at the point of reading once, remember, we are not reading to understand, we are looking for the words we can substitute. So once you've successfully paraphrased, you then come back to read properly to understand the question, and to also decide on what you are expected to do. But we won't go into that yet. You must understand paraphrasing first. So we are taking on more tasks. Go back and clean this. Would you like to copy? Or it's clear, right? Okay. Okay, I believe we have copied the question. So we're to spend just 3 minutes.
But to spend 3 minutes to paraphrase the question. And our time starts now. Okay. All right. So, Mrs. Cozy, we'll start with you. Let's have what you were able to paraphrase.
Is it me?
Mrs. Cody.
Okay. A number of facts readers assume that
That's
giving
fact
adolescents-
finders.
Okay, facts finders. Okay. A number of fact finders assume that giving adolescents free access to internet promotes their intellectual ability, while some think it exposes them to immoral behavior.
That's very easy. Madam, please take that again. I would like to jot or make notes.
A number of fact finders
Go ahead, please.
assume that giving adolescents
Go ahead, please.
free access to internet
Okay.
promotes their intellectual ability,
Okay.
while some think it exposes them to immoral acts.
Is there a full stop after your intellectual ability, or you continue?
No, there is no a full stop. While some
Okay. Is there any punctuation there? Any punctuation around that area?
no, I didn't put any comma.
All right. Thank you.
I joined it with I.
All right. Nice. Thank you. While some believe, right?
While some think.
Okay. All right. That's okay. Thank you. Rocky, let's hear you, please.
Some information seeker think that allowing young age free access to online improve them in initiative thinking, whereas others individuals opined it brings them to the light of a lot of immoral attitude.
Okay. I'd like you to take that again, please. Let me make notes.
Okay. Some information seekers,
Information seekers.
yeah, think
Okay.
that allowing young age
Age this way.
with D
Okay.
free access to online improve them in initiative thinking.
Okay.
Whereas others individuals opined. No, whereas other individuals opined.
Okay.
It brings them to the light of a lot of immoral attitude.
All right. Thank you so much. So we shall begin. For those here, There you go.
A number of intellectual things think that giving young adults free hands to internet will help them to build their thinking,
Okay.
while others believe that it will bring them to the lot of so many moral acts.
Okay, please, you take that again gradually.
A number of intellectuals think that giving young adults free hands to internet will help them to build their thinking, while others believe that it will bring them to the light of so many moral acts.
Okay, please, you take that gradually. I'm making notes so I can write what you're saying. So I'm at the point of giving young adults
Free hand to internet.
free hand
To internet.
to
Internet.
internet.
Will help them to build their thinking.
Okay,
While others believe that it will bring them to the light
to help them to build, right?
of their thinking.
Okay. Okay.
While others believe
Is there any punctuation around that? Where?
think apathy.
Okay, I'm not thinking you have comma. Then,
While others believe it will bring them to the light of so many moral acts.
okay. So you continue. Right, thank you so much. Please kindly pass to him behind you. Yes, please.
A number of researchers
Okay.
are of the opinion
Okay.
that giving youth unrestricted access to internet aids them in productive thinking. Others suggest it exposes them to so many immoral acts.
Is there full stop after your thinking?
Yes,
Okay. Then others?
others suggest it exposes them to so many immoral acts.
Thank you so much. Please. Okay, don't worry, go ahead.
A number of researchers think that allowing
Things, right?
yes, allowing teenagers free access to internet boosts their way of thinking rightly. Semicolon. While some feels it exposes them to immoral behavior.
Okay, thank you so much. We'll take that gradually now.
Okay.
Yeah, please.
A number of researchers
Yes, please.
think that allowing teenagers free access to internet boosts their way of thinking rightly. Semicolon. While some feels it exposes them to immoral behavior.
All right, thank you so much. We can hear you, please.
Some researchers
Okay.
are of the opinion that allowing youth have easy pass to internet broadens their reasoning. Full stop. A few think it exposes them to immoralities.
Immorality, right?
Yes,
As singular.
immoralities. I
ES.
Okay, thank you.
Some fact finders believe that giving young adults easy access to the internet helps them in intuitive thinking, full stop. Few think it brings them to the light of several immoral acts.
Okay, can you take that again, please?
Some fact finders believe that giving young adults easy access to the internet helps them in intuitive thinking, full stop. Few think it brings them to the light of several immoral acts.
Okay, if you think it does what?
It brings them to the light of several immoral acts.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay. Some researchers believe that giving teenagers free access to internet helps them in in-depth thinking, full stop. Others are of the opinion it brings them to ideas on lots of immoral acts.
Can you take that again?
Some researchers believe that giving teenagers free access to internet helps them in in-depth thinking, full stop. Others are of the opinion it brings them to ideas on lots of immoral acts.
All right, thank you. I think we are beginning to understand a lot more what paraphrasing entails. To begin, the first paraphrase attempt right there says fact finders. Who are fact finders? They are researchers. They could be researchers, they could be scientists, depending on the context of the question.
Journalists too.
Not really. Journalist is restricted to a particular area of specialism. Pardon?
Media.
Yes, yes. Okay, now giving. Giving is paraphrasable, granting, allowing. Then adolescents. Who are adolescents? Mrs. Cordia, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Who are adolescents? Teenagers are adolescents. So who are teenagers?
Yes.
Teenagers are adolescents.
Young adults.
Adolescents are teenagers. All right. There is a difference. A teenager is anybody within the age bracket of 13 to 19. Do you understand this? That's a teenager. An adolescent is anybody between the age of maybe, not even up to, no, an adolescent even from 11 years. You know, at the period when they begin to develop some, right? Okay, is it from 13 they begin to develop?
No,
It depends.
people are faster.
Yes, some 10, I've seen 10, I've seen 11. Right? So between 10 to 17, right? Or maybe 20, 21 or 22. I don't know, we can actually confirm that. Who an adolescent, but it doesn't mean a young adult at all. A young adult is a youth. Do you understand this? Then free, unrestricted, right? And then there is something you also need to understand about paraphrasing.
Paraphrasing does not compel you to change a particular word absolutely. It doesn't mean you substituting a word entirely with a different new word. If you can change the form of a word, and it passes the same information in a sentence, you have paraphrased. For instance, freedom. Do you understand this? If there is a way you can bring in freedom in that sentence, it will still pass the same message. Do you understand this? So, unlimited, unrestricted access to internet. Now, some, you see, when you have a hole, when you have a hole, that means everything here is 100%. Then, out of this 100%, it tells you that some. You can see that some is not even up to half, right? Now, this remaining part means what?
Others.
So when you are paraphrasing others and you use some, you have done what? You have also divided the others. Please, do you understand this? When it says others, and instead of using others, you choose to say some, you have also carved out certain people from that remaining. So it doesn't carry the same message as what's in the original question. Madam, do you understand?
That's what you said.
At this point, you made use of the word some to substitute others.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Good. So I explained right now that this is a whole, the whole of this, the complete shape here represents a whole. That means everybody, right?
Okay.
So in the question, it's not acknowledging everybody, it's only making reference to some. So we have carved out some in this context. Now, this remaining part is considered to be others. So instead of retaining others, you chose to use the word some. That means you are also carving out another faction.
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm trying to explain?
Yes.
So it doesn't translate to what the original question carries. Alright. Then second person, information seekers. Information seekers, to me, are also researchers, right? They are also researchers. But it is arguable. Someone might liken it to journalists, right? People who are in the media field or sector. Because their own kind of job is always getting correspondences. So it's better to go for something that would also align with the concept of these guys in the original question. Then young aged doesn't sound very English to me. So please, we should always consider how a word sounds in every sentence. Free to online. Free to online does not sound English as such. Then improve them in initiative. Here it says in their intuitive. Intuitive, that's creativity. Or whatever choice of words you want to use. Not that. Then others or other individuals. The same correction I said here also applies to this. Mr. Rakib, do you understand?
Yes.
Okay. Then it brings them to the light of, that is, you are picking exactly verbatim what we have in the original question. It's not bad. Whatever I write out here, two things are involved. It's either it's wrongly used or it's paraphrasable. Okay? So you just exported or took it verbatim and pasted. It's also paraphrasable. It brings them to the light of, simply put, exposes them. Right? Now let's go to the next person. Intellectual.
a number of intellectuals. Madam, that's yours, right? Intellectuals. Who are intellectuals? The elites. The elites. That class. So who are the elites? How can you explain them?
Evolution class.
The evolution class.
The philosophers.
Yeah.
Oh, the
Evolution class.
evolution class. The PhD holder. The doctors of this and that. Okay. They are the internet. So those that are not up to that class, who are they? The regulars. Okay. So this does not interpret fact finders. So fact finders could be what? Can you remember? Researchers or scientists, depending on the context, right? Then, giving young adults, I've actually talked about that somewhere. Young adults is what is used here. It means what? Youth, in plural. Then, free hand. That's Nigerian English. So I'm giving you free hand there, and you, what do they call that? See finish is not coming in. Free hand slow. So this is not very sweet to come in. We'll help them to build their thinking. Did I pinpoint this word yesterday?
Not to use it.
Yeah, you said A, assists.
IELTS question will deliberately drop it in the question. They want to see what you can change it to. So helps is informal. So it aids them. It promotes, it fosters, it enhances, it assists. Right? So those are substitute words you can bring in. Madam, do you understand? It helps them to, you can continue with building. Yeah, that's correct. So it aids them in building their creative thinking, their imaginary thoughts. Okay? Then, yesterday, can we remember we talked about compound and complex sentences. I deliberately want to give you the hints about that. I expect, IELTS will expect you during your paraphrase. When you are paraphrasing the question, some questions will come in 2 or 3 sentences. Some questions, just one question, it will have 2 to 3 sentences. But when you are paraphrasing the 2 to 3 sentences, they're supposed to become 1. So what are you supposed to use to achieve that? Linking words. Simple. Linking words. So how do we apply linking words? How do you apply linking words when you are paraphrasing? You apply linking words by understanding that at the end of the first idea, first sentence, a comma comes in. Then a linking word is introduced. Another comma comes in before you launch the next. Please, do you understand this?
So
that's why I was asking, is there any punctuation somewhere? Where?
After the first full stop, before the others, you can say, okay, you can put comma and say, meanwhile.
Comma.
So, for instance, okay, let's just get done. We're going to have the proper paraphrase. So, when you have this type of question that comes in two sentences, you should link the 2 sentences with the appropriate linking words. You know that the arguments right there are contradicting, right? They are contradicting, they are opposing each other. So, what type of linking words you bring in? A contradicting linking word. For instance, whereas, while, meanwhile. Do you understand this?
Contrarily.
Contrarily. So don't just blow grammar. Know what to bring in at each point in time. Okay. Here, thinking. Thinking is in a question. So you can actually say their imaginary thoughts, their creative ideology, their intellectual ability, their cognitive ability. Those are words you can actually show off. So many is in the original question. Numerous, several can be used to substitute them. Then we have immoral acts is in the original question. Immorality covers immoral acts. Right? I think someone said immoral behaviors, right? Behaviors perfect. But for that immoral, why don't you say unacceptable behaviors? Do you understand? Then fact finders, I've talked about fact finders. Giving, I've talked about it. Young adults, we know the right word to use. Helps, I've talked about it, right? Then intuitive. Okay, this is for you. I was going to interrupt when you were giving me your own. I said you didn't want to stress yourself because I said it's better not to. You see, sometimes it's not good to give some information. You don't want to stress yourself anymore. Please, you need to go far. You need to come out of the box and give us something very nice. So you were just giving me, I was busy writing, you were giving me. So everything here we've talked about it. Few reduces the number, alright, in value. Then brings them to light of, I said the single one is what? Exposes, right? Then immoral acts, I've talked about it. Then thinks. Thinks does not align with a subject. Thinks right there, is it singular plural? Singular plural?
Is it for me?
I don't know who owns this.
Yes, it's singular.
Hmm?
Singular.
Singular.
That's not.
I don't know who gave me this anyway. But things is singular. And the subject right here is plural. Teenagers, I've talked about it. Free, I've talked about it. Some fields, this does not align. Some is plural, right? And this is singular. Right? So it doesn't require this S. You have to take it off. Then immoral, we've talked about it. Okay, a few also reduces the value. Then immoralities. There's something before the immoralities. Mm-hmm. Aha, thank you. What level? What rate of immoralities? Please don't ignore some of these things. It says so many. So don't just say immoralities. So even if you don't want to substitute, but remember to carry that quantifier. Then teenagers, I've talked about it. Free helps, it brings them to, okay, we've treated every other part. Now let's paraphrase together. Certain fact finders feel that giving young adults free access to internet helps them in their intuitive thinking. Others believe it brings them to the light of so many immoral acts. What's the first thing you're supposed to do, madam? What's the first thing you have to do when you want to paraphrase? Why do we read one before you paraphrase? So you would discover or identify the words you are sure about their synonyms, right? So let's look for the words we can change or substitute. The first one is what? Certain. All right. What else? Fact finders. What else? Feel. What else? Giving. What else? Young adults. Free. Access. You give me the. Oh, I don't get to that point. Because I will personally leave it that way. Yeah, but should I go ahead? To what? Helps. Intuitive. Thinking. Then I'll paraphrase this guy to this point. You know why, right?
The full stop. They're going to paraphrase it too. Then believe, right? Then the whole of this part. To the light of, right? Then so many, then immoral acts. Is practically. Yeah. Okay, so let's begin. See how your guy is smiling because he's chatting. All right, let's begin. Certain, what do we use? Some. Or let's say a number of, right? Sounds better, right? A number of who? Researchers. Believe. Mm-hmm. Granting. Mm-hmm. Adults or youths, okay. Mm-hmm. Unrestricted or unlimited access to internet aids them, is that correct? In their what? Imaginary, creative, intellectual, cognitive, whatever you want to use. There are so many. In-depth, okay. You can also say in-depth. In-depth what? Thoughts. Or intellect. Or intellectual ability. In-depth intellectual ability. Right? Then at this point you bring in not semicolon. I heard someone say semi. You bring in comma. Then whereas comma. Then you continue. This O becomes what? Small letter. The O of others becomes small letter. Others, what? What we use? Think. It what?
Exposes.
It exposes them to
That thing you can
Several.
someone say something.
no.
It exposes them
Several bad.
To various unacceptable behaviors.
various means different.
To them to
Several.
unacceptable.
Several, okay.
Bad behavior.
Unacceptable.
Unacceptable.
Okay. No, I'm actually considering these so many. I understand.
So many
We are
ideas.
Yes. Let me explain something. On the board we have so many, right? You want to change it to another synonym or expression that connotes the same thing. And you choose to say several. Yes, several is correct. But several is also common. Anybody can easily say several, right? So numerous can fly. Several is okay. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying if we have a more advanced expression, it's better. So several or numerous what? Unacceptable behaviors or several immoralities. Simply put. Yes, please.
So, can we add more words? Like, except the linking words and these ones will have to change. Can we like add more words to it? For example, let me read what I wrote here. So that is supposed to be after the first full stop. Others believe it brings them to light of so many immoral acts. Then I wrote, others are of the opinion it brings them to ideas on lots of immoral acts. So now I didn't just change the light I think I removed it entirely and just put these ideas. I don't know.
No, but your expression is still in line with.
Okay, so you could just remove and add, but as long as
It
in line
doesn't
with
go outside or it doesn't import
context.
what's not there.
Okay, alright. So I was just thinking is maybe we just
You are limited to no,
yes,
no, no,
to
no,
what
no.
you can bring in and keep out.
How did we define paraphrase? It is a writing technique of rephrasing or rewriting or restating an information using synonyms or phrases. So what's used right there is phrases, right? That retains the original meaning.
So we shouldn't be scared of bringing in words as long as it doesn't go out of context.
Exactly.
Okay.
As long as you're not importing something that's not here.
Okay.
Right? So, at this point, what do? We transfer to your answer sheet.
I
Right?
have a question.
Please go ahead.
I have a question. So in this context, what if you don't want to use others after the linking word?
Is there?
Is there? Yes.
If you don't want to use
What if
others,
you don't- yes. What's the appropriate word to paraphrase others then?
if I say the rest of the people, the rest of honestly, others should be others. The rest of who? Researchers.
You are continuing.
The rest.
Can't you just put the rest?
Why the
What if
rest?
it's not all of them? They're able
Whereas
to be.
the rest.
Whereas the rest believe
Yeah.
the rest.
Think.
Okay.
The rest of who? So it is safer to still use others. It is safer, please.
Yes.
Alright, are we done? Can I clean this? Now we are gradually getting to to standard IELTS questions. Some of what we are doing here are just preambles. We are gradually getting to the standard IELTS questions. Okay, so we are to paraphrase this in 3 minutes. Our time starts now. Okay, our time is up. Right, so Mrs. Cordy will begin with you. Let's hear what you have.
What I have is majority of individuals opine that introduction of foreign ways of life has affected our beliefs, while others believe it gave us complete freedom.
All right, thank you so much. Nice attempt. I think we are improving gradually. Mr. Rakib.
Certain individuals think that the introduction of westernization culture has influenced our ways of life, whereas others opine it has brought about total liberation.
Okay, nice shot.
Most individuals suggest that the introduction of Western style of living has influenced our cultures, whereas others believe it has brought about absolute freedom.
Okay, nice.
A good number of individuals are of the opinion that the introduction of Western civilization has changed our ways of life, whereas the rest of the people think it has given way to total freedom.
Thank you.
Several people feel that
The mic, man.
several people feel that the initiation of Western ways of life has ailed our culture, whereas others believe that it has brought about total freedom.
I didn't get that, man.
Several people feel that the initiation of Western ways of life has ailed our culture.
Ails.
Yes.
As in, can you spell that word?
A.
Okay, has. Okay, noted.
Culture, whereas others believe that it has brought about total freedom.
Okay, thank you.
Numerous people are of the opinion that the introduction of Western culture has led to our acculturation. Contrarily, others opine that it has bring about complete expression.
Okay,
Many individuals are of the opinion that the introduction of Western practice of life has influenced our tradition. Meanwhile, others believe it has brought, meanwhile, others believe it has given us access to total freedom.
thank you.
Many persons are of the opinion that the introduction of foreign lifestyle has a great impact in our beliefs, while others feel it has given more free will.
It has given us what?
More free will.
Are you ready to freedom? Thank you. Okay, then the way you paraphrase this guy, can you remember? Can you?
Great impact.
Great impact. Great. What is the role of great? Adjective. It's describing the weight of the impact. Here, just say it has influenced. It has impacted. Please, do you understand this? Right. So overall, I think we have improved greatly. From all we have been able to do today, I can confidently say that what we need to do is to go and build vocabularies. We need to go and work on our vocabularies so we'll be able to paraphrase faster. Because it is in your quest to maybe remembering the right words, that's what takes much of the time, right? Like when you have the vocabularies, they will be at the tips of the fingers. So when you need any word, the brain automatically gets them out. So here, a lot. I heard someone say majority. I heard someone say certain, a number of. No. I have given us that little diagram that explains how to categorize these people. So please, whenever you see them, try to use the right one for that. A lot, you can say lots of. You can say many. You can say several, right? You can say numerous. Then don't reduce it by saying certain. Certain means some, right? Don't say most or majority. It's higher than a lot. Then, I also heard a choice of synonym for people. Your choice of word for people. Please check this, whatever quantifier you're using. Whatever quantifier you're using should help you to make the right choice that will sound better. Many people is English. Many individuals is easier to express. A lot of persons and a lot of people, which is better?
A lot of persons.
A lot of persons and a lot of people, which do you prefer?
A lot of persons.
A lot of persons. Then when you have majority of people or majority of individuals, which is better? Individuals. So always ensure you go with the right one that will make whatever qualifier to be more English or better English. Then here,
the correct word is in its introduction, right? Then right here, Western ways of life. What does that mean? There's a definition here.
Culture.
Culture. Defined. What is culture? It's the ways of life of a people. So in a question like this, check. If there is a definition, use the word that is defined to substitute it. So the Western word, culture. Someone said tradition. Tradition is just
Part of culture.
a part of culture.
So can we say like Westernization culture?
No, that's tautology. Westernization means
Change.
changing the culture, bringing their own culture, right? So you can either say Westernization, perfect. And when you say Westernization, you are simply, this is what you're going to do. Lots of individuals are of the opinion that the Westernization, or are of the opinion that Westernization has. So you're scrapping from here to this point with that word, Westernization. Do you understand this? But if you want to use culture, you are acknowledging the whole of these parts, then at this point you are using culture. Influenced, has impacted, has affected, right? So this influence right here is not very specific, whether it is positive or negative. So when you are paraphrasing, don't take side. Remember that. Don't take side. So just paraphrase it and retain the concept right here. Then when you get to this culture, what do? You can come back to this guy.
Ways of life.
Thank you. You can see we are just alternating. So when they are reading, they know that you have changed this guy. When they come here, they no longer see the culture here, they're now seeing something else. Paraphrase. Simple. So you are.
What about acculturation?
Now, hell, now you are going to explain that to us. What does it mean?
When you
have the mic.
when the introduction or contact with the culture of other people changes your own culture.
So it is what?
Acculturation.
Acculturation.
Yes.
Now, at this point, did you take this guy?
Yes.
Has influenced what?
Acculturation. I didn't has led to acculturation. It can
Is
be
that what
negative, yes, it can be negative or positive.
So it has led to acculturation. That means this guy will be off. Because acculturation means there's an influence on something that's existing according to what you just explained, right? So you don't need to bring this again. That's what I was asking you. Thank you. They are still online. Okay. Then, at this point, are we having full stop? Comma. Then, are we having any
contrary?
Whereas, meanwhile, then another comma comes in, then you continue. Others opine, it has what? Led to. It has led to. Absolute. Right?
Complete.
Or complete what?
Expression.
Complete what?
Expression.
Expression, yes.
How about absolute?
I said that absolute, complete, expression, absolute or complete emancipation, absolute or complete independence. Whatever choice of words was used to substitute that's fine. Alright? So, this is what paraphrasing looks like. I'm very confident you've understood what it means, how to go about it. But you need a lot of practices. The good thing about IELTS is that questions are being repeated. But it's not every now and then. It might take a long time. Then you see a question that you might have practiced long ago. So for you to actually come across a question you've practiced, it means you must have practiced so fast, right? To give you the opportunity of meeting one.
Can you give us practice tests to learn?
At the end of this class, I'm going to forward to your WhatsApp 5 questions. So at your own convenience, please set your time to 20 minutes for the whole of that 5 questions. You are to paraphrase. Don't do anything. Just to paraphrase. So when you paraphrase, bring them tomorrow. So we can also check what you've done. Then from tomorrow, we shall continue with the thesis background statements and also to the end of how it should be by God's grace. So thank you so much for today. We'll meet again tomorrow. Mr. Rocky, do you have a question?
Sir?
Do you have a question?
No.
Okay, Mrs. Scott, did you have any question?
No, I don't have. I remember when you said that a lot. You know, I use majority.
Yes.
But I've seen where you put words to paraphrase with a lot.
Alright, so I will still send a video to you if you would like to go through again.
Okay, yes, please. I'd like to. Thank you.
Alright, you're welcome. See you tomorrow.
Alright, thank you.
Yeah.